Hello, hi, welcome to Collabie on Adobe Live. Thanks for being here, everybody. I'm Kirk Wallace, and today I have Katya Ross with me, who I'll bring into the stream in just a second. And I will try to get into things quickly today. Today we're doing a Valentine's Day sort of themed build a bouquet of flowers where we're going to draw live in Adobe Illustrator and have fun, and it's going to be silly and cute. And I want to introduce somebody that's very, very talented illustrator. If I can click the right button, I will bring in Katya. Hi, Katya.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I'm a little nervous. Still, my jitters are shaking out,
Get
but
them out.
I'm so
We're
glad
gonna have
you're
fun.
here. Yeah, we're
Me
gonna have
too.
fun. So Katya is an incredible illustrator. She's making these really fantastic uh, alphabet animals on YouTube and Reels and TikTok and all that, and you've probably seen it a million times. She's forced herself into my YouTube feed, like without me subscribing or anything. Like yeah, you have to
You
check her
don't
out.
sub? Kurt.
No, nope,
Just kidding.
never will. Um, I tease. So let's talk about our idea today and get into artwork kind of quickly. Um, so the whole idea of Collabie, so just backing up a little bit. So Collabie, my fireplace is going to go off in a minute. If there's a little bit of a jingle and hum, that'll stop. So Collabie is all about me finding artists that I admire and love and want to work with, and gives me an excuse to finally be able to work with them.
Awesome.
I worked with Katya this last 2 weeks. We pushed out a week, so we had an extra week, which was really good. But yeah, we went back and forth on ideas of what we wanted to do, and we have a really cute idea that was kind of Katya's idea first, and then we workshopped it, which is sort of the beauty of Collabie, is
There's
like
both.
the
Yeah.
idea is like a back and forth thing. So Katya, do you want to kind of explain a little bit of what we're gonna do today?
Sure. So I think it's super fun to get and to give flowers. And for designers, we kind of thought it'd be fun to create uh, kits for each other of different things that you might find in a still life or a floral arrangement. And then the idea was we'd come up with a loose description of what we'd want to do. So we came up with a color palette, a motif, and then just an inspiration word. And then separately, completely unseen by one another, we created uh, just a bunch of illustrated assets that you're about to see. And then we swapped. And so that's what we have. That's where we're starting. We're going to unpack this kit of flowers, patterns, stems, whatever we decided to give one another, and create a still life composition, and then work with each other's assets and create something by the end of the stream.
Yeah.
And I think if you guys wanted to follow along, you could download the same assets and do it with us, which would be kind of fun. Mega collab, right?
Yeah. I think it should be somewhere in the description. There's a link. I think both on the Adobe Live link as well as the YouTube link, our AI file, which has all the assets. And yeah, it's a no pressure kind of thing. We will draw a little bit of things, but it's going to be a lot of arranging in Photoshop, and then we've got very loose guidelines to basically make something beautiful. Oh, and the thing that I thought was so cool that Katya mentioned is that I didn't realize it, but like very often you go and find the perfect vase to fit the flowers that are gifted to you. And so at the end, once we arrange our bouquet, we're going to design the perfect vase. So we'll make
Yeah,
up some new assets as well. So there'll be a little bit of drawing as well as arranging, and we can change colors and add textures and stuff and embellishments if we need to.
total creative
But yeah, I
liberty.
love that idea of the like making a vase at the end too.
Yeah, and hey to everybody in the chat. It's fun to see some new names and familiar names. Thanks
Mhm.
for tuning in.
Yeah, hi everybody. Um, yeah, I hope people download the thing and start playing around, and also like ideas for where a flower should go, or if we should rotate things, or if we should change colors or add a certain bug to a flower. Like, yeah,
Ooh,
stay
bugs.
lively in the chat. Um,
Cool.
I guess I'll
Let's
jump
do
to
it.
both of our screens and we kind of just get a view of what we each have. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Both screens. Okay. So what Katya drew is over here that I have on my computer. She's gifted me these beautiful flowers and assets. And Katya has what I've given her
over
on the
here.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sight
Yeah, and so
unseen.
here's that that kind of board. This is the only thing we had before we swapped. So we're just like Kirk came up with these awesome colors. I decided on like a checkerboard motif, and then we're like, fire sounds good because it's so general. It could be interpreted so many different ways. Um, and I think this was such a fun idea because it adds a little bit of guidance, but not too much, a little bit of parameters. So yeah, this turned out so fun. I love what you did.
Yeah, I really am happy with what I have in front of me too of like yeah, it's so cool. They're just like little Lego pieces that we can slide
Yeah,
around. And that's very much how I use Illustrator. And I'm curious kind of for you too, Katya, of like I never draw anything amazing right out of the gate. It's always like making like right now I'm working on a scene that has like a ton of buildings and characters in it for an animation. I'm like, I'm so intimidated by it, but I just draw like a building and then I draw like another building and then I draw like a fountain and then I like kind of start like pulling them together and
yeah.
rearranging them. Do you work like that at all?
I mean, I think that's like that's something I've said about process before. Is it's just one step at a time,
Yeah.
and I get really intimidated too by daunting mountains of projects because yeah, an illustration that's complex can be so hard to force myself to get started on, but you just start with one thing and then another thing, and same with animation and pretty much any creative process. It's just one little step at a time. um so yeah, totally. Oh, these are so fun.
Yeah, so we have 45 minutes or so to see if we can make the best bouquet ever. Also, I have a feeling I'm gonna make maybe a couple. I do a lot of like duplicating and stuff when I'm making things, so
Sure.
I'm gonna start dragging things around and playing, and you do the same. And
Nice. Yeah. Do you want to have like a final artboard size, or do you want to decide that later?
I feel like mine's gonna be generally like tallish, kind of like what you have in yours. Like, so I have room for the vase. So
Cool.
anything in this world is good to me. I feel like we have the same exact size.
Nice. Yeah, man, this is fun. I've never worked with somebody else's illustrated assets that are so deconstructed.
Yeah.
It's kind of a fun, unique thing.
Yeah,
Um,
this is interesting. I don't know where to begin, but I'm gonna start with just grabbing flowers and bringing them in. I really
nice.
love your
So I'm
fire flower.
curious. Thanks. I'm curious. You have the roughen effect on these?
I do, just like you.
Nice. Oh yeah, cool. So we did the same thing.
Yeah,
We
we
both
did.
like that texture.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Um,
added the roughen effect that you can see on Katya's here, but the nice thing is that it still keeps all of the points simple so that we can modify as we need to, but it gives this nice little toothy edge to all of the artwork as like a smart
mhm.
effect.
And that is so good because my computer, back when I had an older one, it would light up like a rocket ship. Because if you go to, if you really need to, you can go to expand appearance, and that will make all of these little points. That it'll kind of it'll make it so that the points are real. I don't know how else to say that, but
Right.
then you get like instead of 4 points,
Here, I can even
in a
expand
square.
one so we can see
Yeah.
it. But
Uh,
yeah, it starts looking
luck to
horrible
your
like
computer.
this. Yeah, and then if you want
and
to
then
like move anything, you got to move them all together.
and then your computer slows way down, which is danger zone. So I love that roughen effect.
Yeah.
Um, because when I animate in Adobe After Effects, I have presets and stuff that will create that little roughen effect. So really, I only use the roughen effect when I'm uh, doing like sticker designs, or things that are not going to end up as animations.
Sure.
Um, because I'll just create smooth vector illustrations in Illustrator like this, and then drag them into
Yeah.
Illustrator. But since we're doing an illustration today, um,
We can go rough
man,
right in Illustrator.
what's that?
We can go rough right in Illustrator.
Yeah, which is awesome,
No need for turbulence.
man.
Do we
These
have
are so
rules around resizing? I'm rotating like
oh
crazy, but
oh
do we
anything goes.
anything goes?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Scale is so fun to play with.
Yeah, I want to go real big with your fire flower here.
Nice. I love that you gave so many different like loop de loops and soft and zigzag. Um,
I went crazy on the green stuff.
yeah, it's nice to have a lot to play with.
I hope
Um,
it's usable.
oh, totally.
I'm
Mhm.
playing a lot with kind of forward and backward. I want to like build up something really dense, but I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play for a while.
This is fun. I might turn some of your greenery into colory.
Please.
Man, I'm curious where everybody in the chat is watching from. If you guys want to give a shout out to your hometown or city or whatever.
I
I'm in
am
a
in cold Maine, and Katya is in cold. Where are you?
I'm in cold Kansas City, Missouri, dead center of the country right now. It's yeah, it's snowing, it's cold, but we've got design and flowers to keep us warm.
And fire.
And fire, yeah, perfect.
We didn't realize
Man,
how cold it was gonna be when we came up with the idea, I guess. But
yeah. Um,
yeah, switch colors too.
man, so I think I'm torn whether I want to match flowers to the stems and then arrange them entirely, or to like create sort of this jungle gym of stems and then see what flowers fit in because
Ooh,
they're so fun.
I like the jungle gym idea.
Just kind of create that sort of framework.
Yeah, I'm sort of building up like flowery things first and foremost. I mean, I'm doing a bit of everything, but I kind of want to focus on flowers first and then like connect in between with stems is what my brain goes to first for mine.
Nice. Because I usually like if I were to just sit down in Adobe Fresco or something and draw a bouquet, I'd probably start by drawing the flowers themselves and then adding the stems later. But your stems are so fun that I might kind of do it backwards, and that's kind of that's something I really like about this kind of collab process. It breaks you out of your traditional, maybe the tried and true methods,
Sure.
that you're used to, or at least for me. Um,
Yeah, I'm trying not to fall back into like my habits too quickly and like embrace the difference of it all. And I think like our styles are the nice thing is like they're similar enough that they totally I don't feel like I'm in outer space right now, but
I
they're also like exciting in that like this shape that I have here, I really love that you've made. Like
don't
this
even
would
know what that
never
is. If
come
it's like
across.
petal or
Yeah, it's like a beautiful like petal being blown away. It's romantic. It's like a there's something to it that maybe it's the colors that are doing it for me.
nice, man. This is fun. Yeah, I don't know what what kind of plant this would be that would have zigzags and loop to loops all on the same stem, but it's a fun one that I would
Yeah,
love to receive in a bouquet
it's from space.
from space. No, I saw that movie. It didn't end well.
I really like your like curious how you I mean I generally know how you made this, but curious how you made this brush. This is a
So
brush that you made, right?
it's not a rush. It's the zigzag tool, and I
Oh,
can show
sure.
real quick.
Duh. Right.
Um, but there's I love the zigzag tool because there's so many different applications. I don't think you guys can see when I'm opening up a menu, but I'm going up to effect and then distort and transform and then zigzag. And oh man, you can't see this little module I have, but you can set a size. You can set it to be super, super big like that. So this is about 60 pixels, or you can have it be really, really small. You can kind of see how the waves get shorter, so to speak. And then you can also adjust the ridges per segment or make it smooth or versus corner. So for this one, I've got a thicker line width with a bunch of these. And you can kind of create these weird zigzag effects. And what's nice about that is, again, you don't have a million points. You can just sort of manipulate the line and however you want and maintain that effect. So that's how I made those stems. And I think there's another one in there where I used the
Yeah,
curved
you have
version of that
the
effect.
zigzag but with smooth instead of corner.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
I've
so it's a little more bumpy.
haphazardly shared my entire screen, so open to embarrassment. But I have the zigzag module popped up, so yeah, people can see like if I thicken, you can
Nice.
get like a telephone cord sort of effect, and that's clever. I wouldn't have really thought about that. I do it for certain things sometimes, but I would have never thought to do it for like a stroke like this. But then, like Katya's saying, it's really nice because you can manipulate it super easily.
Without a million points,
Yeah,
because
without a million points.
when you're getting into like the more complex illustrations, points can really add up.
Yeah, they'll
Um,
crush you.
Textured brushes, so I really like that about Illustrator.
I think the flame's gonna be my hero for the most part.
Nice.
I want to center things around the flame, and therefore might end up making some color adjustments to match this hero. I really love this flower a lot.
Nice. Man, we've got people from Colorado, Atlanta, Boston. That's super fun. Hey guys.
Hi, everyone.
Ooh, and then leaves are going to be a whole other thing. Something I really like about your style, Kirk, is that you don't have to have everything connected. You've got so many like fun, expressive, floaty shapes that just sort of uh, emote outwards from a lot of um, your designs, and I really like that. I like how expressive it is. So I'm gonna take a leaf out of your book. A um, uh, please don't kick me off. That and try a little bit of that, because I'm not trying to mimic your style, but
Please do.
I do like to work with your pieces in sort of a way that's true to how they were drawn.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I agree. I try to break as many rules as I can because I don't know them to begin with. So floating, I feel like floating flowers is totally like it works. That's what's so nice about, I mean, both of the pieces that we have in front of us is like they're so clearly flowers without being so realistic or anything that like they're not allowed to break the rules. Like these are unmistakably flowers, even though they look like fire. Because all you do is pair it with like a green stroke, and then suddenly you know it's a flower. So like, what little can you give the viewer is sort of always been my challenge of like, how little can I give the viewer to still let them know what they're
Hmm.
seeing?
Nice, I like that. Man, I might go just like one big mega stem. I don't know. Is that
Just like a
allowed?
big, yeah, of course it is, like a big tree trunk of a green
Yeah,
stem. Yeah.
yeah, kind of flat, but maybe add some of these things in the background, kind of like Jack and the Beanstalk. Maybe
Yeah.
these are clouds in the back, and it's growing up through the
Ooh,
clouds,
that's clever.
or
I like
clouds of
that.
smoke, maybe to stay on the fire theme.
Yep.
Because if I have the stems be super duper kind of flat and 2D like that, having a little bit of a background element for some depth might be fun.
Yep.
I'm curious, do you use layers very often?
Almost never unless
Really?
yeah, unless I know it needs to go for animation, but like while I'm making things, I just group stuff. Like I group a lot and then I cut and paste in front or paste in back to kind of
Hmm.
put things in front and behind of things, like if I wanted to move this in
Yeah,
back. But otherwise, layers are only if I need to for animation. What about yourself?
gotcha. That's so funny because for me it's kind of backwards. If I'm doing animation, I have kind of a bad habit of using this extension that allows me to kind of copy and paste things
Sure.
directly into my animation program, After Effects. But for illustration, kind of, I'll use layers a little bit more. But I also will much of the time do the same sort of like in front behind,
Yep.
just kind of keyboard shortcuts.
Yep.
That is quite handy. Um, but yeah, for this one, I think I might do a couple layers, like behind, main, and then maybe some embellishments like on top, because it is really handy to be able to lock certain things. Like if I'm doing something where uh, clicking and selecting is going to become really difficult with a bunch of things in front and behind, then
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll lock them off,
Yeah.
which is nice. But
Yeah, I've
I'm
set
liking how this is
keyboard
going.
shortcuts for like locking and unlocking specifically just because I'm doing it so frequently.
Nice.
I'm gonna make your balloon string green because I think this balloon is also a flower. And so I'm
Nice.
gonna craft the hat. I can't help but always want to make characters out of everything too. And I'm seeing like a
No rule against
dancing,
that.
yeah, I'm seeing like a dancing, happy fire flower that's like celebrating that spring is here or something.
I'm gonna do some bends to some of these stems if that's allowed.
Please.
I love that curve tool. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm being drawn toward a character here.
Do it out of face.
Yeah, I need to find like a little skirt for this character now.
And then later on, you can post an animation making them dance.
Yeah, I'll just like puppet tool it and just wiggle it around a bit.
Yeah,
That's the extent of my
perfect.
animation anyway. It's just like wiggling things and hoping that like it works. And sometimes it does.
Wiggling is underrated. It'll get you far. All right, I'm gonna probably try to lock the stems and make a new layer for adding flowers. Um, yeah, I think that might be the way to go because these are so fun. I love this like disco flower you have. This one right
Yeah.
here.
I really
That's really
forced the motif on that one of the checkerboard.
fun. No, it might be the crown jewel. Yeah, I
I'm
think
gonna
definitely.
simultaneously run with two different concepts too, because I'm having like a paralysis of not wanting to make decisions and undo what I have started. So I'm gonna like kind of also start another one on the side that's a little bit more, I don't know, a different idea, which is like, yeah, I don't know. That's what Illustrator's great for, is just like rapidly prototyping and iterating on different
Yeah, by the end
ideas.
of a project, my art boards are so chaotic because yeah, duplicating and yeah.
Yeah.
Buki Margoof, hey, how's it going?
Hey.
What's the challenge today? The challenge today is we swapped assets and we are making bouquets. And so I'm working with Kirk's assets and he's working with mine, and we are just having a lot of fun with it. I think it's going good so far.
I think so. I'm seeing a new story with these assets that these blue bits are big waterfalls and they're going to be putting
Ooh,
out
I like
little
that.
fires down below.
That's awesome. Yeah, none of what you're doing is anything I would have ever put together myself. So that's really fun.
Yeah, I'm going to have two different plants. I'm going to have a water flower, a waterfall plant, and then a fire plant down below getting cooled off because they're hot, but like not putting them out, just cooling off the fire flowers.
Nice. I really like that you added sort of this window pane interpretation of the checkered motif. That's really fun.
Oh, sure.
I wish I
Yeah.
thought of that.
I feel like, yeah, I guess I just like, I think it probably came out of laziness or like not wanting to fill in every square. So I was like, it's just a bunch of lines. They're kind of the
We don't
same.
admit that. We don't admit that on stream. No, it works out great. Oh, I should lock those background elements. Yeah, I'm really liking these. This one that you made, this like actual little log on fire, might be my favorite one though.
That was me really taking the assignment all the way as far as I could of like, what if a fire was a flower?
Perfect. Sometimes literal is the way to go.
Yeah, I don't remember. I drew them on an iPad one night, just like drawing only flowers and fires. I'm like, I draw so infrequently, like just for fun, that with this assignment, I'm calling it an assignment. I was like, I gotta learn how to draw flowers because like I haven't drawn flowers in years because I don't just typically draw a lot. So I just focused on like drawing as many different types of fire. And I was like, oh, I have to learn how to draw fire again too. And I'm like, oh, that's the one that I can usually figure out.
Nice. Yeah, so I guess it'd probably be good to talk about how we both approach the drawing aspect of this. So
Yeah.
you worked on your iPad?
Yeah, I just sketched out with I've been using Fresco more lately,
Nice.
which I actually really started liking. I don't know why I didn't use it for so long, but I just a friend like recommended it. Chris Piasek, who just like has been pushing Fresco forever on me, and I finally
Uh-huh.
decided to use it for I think this project or another one a month ago. I started using it. I really like it. So yeah, I just penciled them out like without any idea of what I was doing. I was just like drawing flowers and then brought them just took that sketch and then brought it into Photoshop or rather Illustrator and just pencil tooled them out or rather pen tooled them out for
Oh,
hours and
okay.
hours black and white first and then just plopped in color basically.
Nice. Okay, cool. So you used the raster brush in Fresco and then vectorized them.
Yep.
Cool. See, that's what I normally do for my process. I always use Fresco too. I've been using it forever. I love it. Um, but for this one, I actually tried using the vector brushes, which
Okay.
isn't something that I do too often. But I'm like, I wonder if I could cut out a step and just go straight to vector because then you can just drag it into Illustrator, which is pretty nice.
Yep.
Um, as vectors all ready to go, and then of course you can just kind of tweak. So that's what I did. So that's what that's what you're working with.
Did you
So you
find that there was anything that like you were missing or like that you would like would that replace your process in the future?
So with the way I animate, I do a lot of path transformations, which means I
Sure.
want as few points as possible.
Yeah.
So I think that for animating, I would still use the pen tool because when I'm drawing a shape, I'm literally counting like one, two,
Right,
three,
right,
four.
right, right.
No more than 4 points
Yeah.
for something circular. So for illustration, I think it's really handy and does save a lot of time if I'm doing like background props, that I don't need to transform. Um, but yeah, I think there's room for both, and it's just different things, different
Sure.
end goals. But for this, yeah, I think it saved a lot of time for me.
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah, because
really
this
like
wasn't like
these.
production pipeline-y at all for it. We knew we were just going to be basically clicking and dragging, playing around like they're Lego.
Mhm. Man, I'm running out of stems. These are so fun.
I tried to pull back on the stems. I was worried I was going to give you too many stems.
No, never. Um, these chunky fire ones are so fun.
I've got my concept kind of coming together on
Yeah, I've been
mine.
so zeroed into mine. Let me look at yours. Oh, cool.
So I'm kind of playing around with this idea of like the water flower dropping down and like the steam like cooling these little fire heads off basically.
That's so fun because I drew those. You're using them completely upside down. I drew them as those sort of daisies that poke upwards.
Yep.
But I can totally see it. Yeah. I can totally see how they've got like the little nub and then the petals coming upwards.
Yeah, little
How fun.
flame heads.
Nice.
And I'm assuming you meant these more as like fiery smoke clouds, but I'm
Yeah, smoke
treating them more
globes.
as like steam, I guess, which I think is like the
Yeah,
beauty of this whole entire like project is like using things the way that we didn't expect to use them.
that's fun.
Oops.
Hmm.
I'm gonna
Man,
basically try to get a composition dialed in and then start adding a little bit of like flourishments and shadows and stuff to like tie it all together.
sweet.
But I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah, there's more room to play, for sure. I'm curious to see where we end up because we got time to just kind of keep building and building. I'm curious if anybody else
I
has
know.
downloaded, is following along. I'd love to see those if anybody wants to
Yeah, I really hope they
tag me
are.
on Instagram or something.
Yeah. Yeah, whether you do it right this moment or if you're watching like the VOD of this, downloading these and playing around and then tagging Katya and I on like what you came up with I think would
That'd
be
be cool.
obviously, yeah, it's the dream, right? It's to see what other people are having fun with your stuff.
Yeah, because you could make endless arrangements with all
Yeah.
these little guys.
Especially when you bring like rotation and resizing into play, it's like these things are literally infinite. Um, I think of them as like refrigerator magnets. I think I say that often when I'm
Yeah.
talking about our work, but just like, rearranging things a million different ways and a million different times, you can get all these different results. And it's always fun. Like, I don't know, I think design can be so approachable when it is simple enough that like anybody can do it, right? Like anybody will go up to a refrigerator with a bunch of shapes on it and like make a smiley face or make something
Yeah.
because it's not intimidating because there's not like a pencil involved or like charcoal involved.
Sure.
And I think so many people can identify with just shapes. And so that's why I think like this project is so perfect for us. It's like we just made simple shapes and now we're, you know, hopefully letting a bunch of other people play with them as well to make whatever they think.
Awesome. Yeah, super fun.
I'm kind of missing my flame head character now too. I want to go back. I'm like bouncing back and forth between the two.
And
I
I like
guess
that you've got such different personalities between those two. Like one is kind of dancing on a very
yeah.
upward, and the other one is kind of like sad and
Yeah.
drippy.
Yeah, she's gonna have like tassels around her wrist and stuff, and she's gonna be, yeah, like loud and bright. And then the other one is gonna be really has a lot of like down energy, but then these are like kind of steaming back upward, and maybe like new life is growing out of the steamy smoke. I don't know.
Nice. Wow, we got a whole
Yeah, a whole
lore building.
story. Yeah. That's what I do when I'm like vectoring stuff. Of like so often I don't come up with my stories or my ideas until I'm like in the middle of it and I'm like dragging
Hmm.
things around. I'm like maybe this character has a mustache and maybe they just dropped their kid off at school and the kid was nervous and so the dad, like I come up with all
Yeah,
these
yeah,
stories like when I'm in this process of like these little tiny little ideas.
that's fun.
I do think there's a lot of room for play in illustration that I guess for me, oh, I just noticed these little babies.
Little burnt matches
Yeah, I
or
love
whatever.
them. They're gonna be little woodland critters for me. But
Perfect, of course.
but yeah, I just think that like art can be really intimidating, and so much of my goal when I'm like doing things like this is to try to tell people that like anybody can make things and characters because it's just shapes that you're dragging around and playing with and it can evolve from there. You can turn these into like really complex, complicated shading and 3D and all of that, but at their core, it's always just like little cute shapes.
Hmm. Yep. I like that. Yeah, I used to I did all the classes and stuff. I did like oil painting and figure
Mm,
studies, and so I'm glad I learned all that stuff. But I've learned about myself that I don't have a ton as much patience as I would like to have.
sure.
Um, and so just sitting down and noodling on a very detailed drawing is really tough for me to make myself do. And so
Sure.
that's kind of how I found this very simple flat style. It's because it's easy to iterate. It's easy to kind of produce quickly and get the ideas out because I there's some artists who are so in love with the process and I love that for them. And I respect it a lot and I'm kind of envious honestly, but I really like being able to quickly get out ideas and doing stuff like this where you're just iterating, your hands on, you're just kind of moving things and cuz like I my sketches are so bad. They're objectively very bad. They're just chicken scratch. But then my executed ideas hopefully are a little bit better because I like to think as I do.
Yep.
Um, and for me, that's in the pen tool and animation and not necessarily with a pencil. So
Yep.
if you find yourself comparing yourself to other artists, maybe just think about your process and how it's not serving you because once I found a process that worked better for me it was a lot better.
Yeah. I think I wanted to interrupt you and I did I didn't. But you said if you find yourself comparing yourself to artists and feeling bad, you should just find other artists. Not that you shouldn't look at those, but like, there's probably an artist that you can identify with really well of like, oh, that process I do really identify with. And
Yeah, that's
so
a good
there's
point.
always going to be somebody out there that's like doing it more. I don't know. For me, it was speaking to what you just mentioned. It hit me once when I realized like, oh, there's like illustrators that just work in glass. Like they just blow glass
Hmm.
and turn shapes into like characters. And like, yeah, they might pencil something really quickly just to get a quick idea out, but like ultimately they're still making illustration. They're still making art. They're just doing it in a different medium. So like who's to say that
Hmm.
that isn't just as illustration worthy? And so I started like realizing like, oh yeah, I was comparing myself to like painters and that wasn't
Yeah.
serving me well, I don't think.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great point. Because I went through so many different phases of inspiration. I used to
Yeah.
love like the super detailed fantasy illustration with cross hatching and just like the tiniest details. And I did that for a long time. Like I copied that style for a long time. Um, until I realized like this isn't really me. It's not my own. I'm just I'll never level up on my own merit. I can get good at copying, but
Sure.
I won't produce things that feel like me.
Right.
And so, I found different artists that did kind of the more flat vector style, and from there I was able to kind of make things that were in that style, but felt a lot more genuine to me and my own ideas. And then no copies.
Yeah. Well, I was just telling you yesterday or the day before or whatever of like, I feel like your work is so unmistakably you. Um,
Oh, thanks. That
and
means
the
so
only way
much.
you probably could have ever gotten to that is by, yeah, finding something that really spoke to you because otherwise we end up just looking like someone else. I was the same way for a long time. The style wasn't quite as different or anything, but same thing was like I would just get comments like, "Oh, your work looks like this person's," and I'd be like, "Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's because I'm just copying that person, so it makes perfect sense." And once I really kind of like abandoned just being like, "I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want to do," I got really nervous because I was like, "Well, maybe commercially this isn't gonna work, or like people aren't gonna hire
Hmm.
me as much." But once I started really leaning into like what I only thought was appropriate just for me. And I'm still not totally doing that, but I'm trying to get better at it. I feel like I've had a lot of freedom or like levity in the way I create lately. And
Hmm.
it still seems to be working commercially for the most part. There's always, once you realize like some of the crazy art that gets commissioned, you're like, oh, I'm not even close to that like wacky. So like if they're getting hired, I could still get hired.
Nice. Yeah, I think your work is awesome commercially.
Thanks, Katya.
It's so fun. Like your stuff makes any environment that it's added into immediately more fun and exciting, energetic.
Thank you. I'm having fun right now with this character.
You got ribbons. You got.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I like how you recolored those other little like wispy fire leaf petal
Yep.
things I
Yep.
gave you.
This is officially like my flame dancer character or our flame dancer character. And I'm realizing like I have to draw legs, but I think I'm gonna cover up their whole waist with a vase. Like I'm gonna start working on my vase probably
Oh,
in a couple of
nice.
minutes.
Yeah,
And
I was thinking the
then
same thing.
yeah. I haven't looked at yours. Oh my god, yours is gorgeous. Oh, I bet I've been
Thanks to
ignoring
all
it. It's
your
so
pieces.
pretty.
No, it's good. We've been in the zone.
Yeah. I'm maximizing your screen for a second so you can kind of talk me through where you're at and what you've been doing.
Sure. Well, I started with that kind of jungle gym of the all the awesome greenery you gave me, and then just sort of added the flowers around, kind of making sort of a diamond type of composition,
Yeah.
with these kind of clouds in the background. And then I think I'm going to make like a comedically teeny tiny little pot for the very bottom
Clever.
to kind of complete that sort of uh, diamond shape.
Yep. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. You really used a lot of the assets too.
Yeah, I mean, you gave me so many good ones. I couldn't pick on just a couple.
I love the diamond. I think yeah, little tiny like little pot almost reminds me of like when you get a new tree from the store and they come in like the little plastic soil, like it's like a little
Yeah,
burlap bag or whatever. It looks so like
like their
pathetic
shoes
until
hurt.
it gets planted. Yeah. I'm gonna stay on you for a moment and just look through the chat to see if there's anything worth. Bookie's loving your
Tiny
cluster of
party pot.
stats.
Wade gets it.
Adam wants a poster of yours. great
Sweet.
idea. We'll have
Take a
to do our post.
screenshot.
Take a screenshot and do it, put it on Redbubble or whatever.
You have my blessing.
Yeah. Hmm. Students of the design says the comparison trap is real. Yes, that is definitely what we all fall into. And it takes each other to get ourselves out of it, I think. It's like the only way is when you mention it to somebody else and they're like, yeah, I'm also comparing myself. It's like, oh, we should not do that together.
Yeah.
All right, back to my
I think I'm gonna
screen,
iterate, make a couple more little cloudy puffs.
please.
Just kind of use the curve tool to fluff out some new shapes here. Because I really like the diamond thing was kind of an happy accident, just kind of naturally evolved that way. But I'm gonna say it like it was my plan all along.
I
But once
think
you see it,
I'm ready to make my vase, and I love, love, love the idea that you had around like the perfect vase. And so looking at mine, I think my vase needs to basically be like an upside down semicircle or whatever of some sort to like make a little dress for this character, or like a curved thing. Also because I've been looking so hard to try to find like the Bauhaus style like pendant lamp that is like that shape, and so it's just like in my head lately. I've
oh,
just been like scouring the internet to find it, and they're all just like fake ones on the internet that like, and then I go to Reddit and I'm like, is this website legit? And everyone's like, no, they scammed me. And I'm like, I can't find this lamp that just looks like this. So that's what the vase is going to be like.
I wish you good luck on your lamp stage.
I'm
I
trying
think
so
I gotta.
hard.
I think I've got to do. I was gonna do like a. I love little circle vases. Those are those
Okay.
kind of globy round ones. But I feel like I got to do this bottom of the diamond little tiny
The little tiny one is so
triangular one.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I don't
love
use the
getting
shape.
forced into a decision that has to be made by like like you can make any vase you want, but like you have to make that type of one just because
Yeah.
it's the story that's being told. And I think similarly with mine, it's like this is the story that's being told is this character needs a little dress. So this is what needs to happen.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who? Hey, Ryan. Ryan in the chat. Yeah, and it's fun being inspired by kind of your mark making.
Yeah.
Because again, like there's overlap between our styles inevitably because it's vector and
Sure.
um, fun, but still like very different. I'd say energies in and just styles. So it's fun to kind of cater to that
Yeah.
with
Yeah, there's a
a
lot of
little
like
pop.
movement in your work that I wouldn't typically have. Like lots of like I feel like wind is blowing through. I think that's why I ended up with this kind of dancer type
Hmm.
character is because you have like a lot of movement happening. I'm gonna even push a little further of like, yeah, I see this as like a dancing character, whereas mine is much more like just big graphic shapes uh, that lend themselves to a diamond, I guess.
That's fun. And going back to like how I drew those, they are a lot more sort of organically shaped than what I typically do, which
Sure.
is kind of interesting and fun because yeah, usually I'm using the pen tool and making kind of rigid shapes that then I loosen up for animation and After Effects.
Right.
But for this, I was doing a lot more, like hand motion. So you got some very wavy, flowy
I
shapes.
do.
It's fun because yours are very geometric
Yeah.
and zigzaggy and hard edges. So it's fun to see that contrast.
Yeah, I think like you said, a lot of my motion comes later. Like most of my characters are drawn in basically a T pose, and then I'm like making the movement happen later in Illustrator, but like the sketch is always really stiff, and then in Illustrator is where they kind of come to life.
That's awesome. Do you think I should make this pot? Do you think I should keep it green to kind of match the stems? I'm torn on that.
I think
Chat, help
chat
me
makes
out.
sense for that.
Yeah,
Chat. You have
I can
five
cycle
colors to
through.
choose from, basically.
Yep. We can do a burgundy, which is kind of nice because there's not a ton of burgundy
Yeah.
throughout. I feel like orange is too flower like. Huh.
Ooh,
I
the like
think,
porcelain like pinky is nice too. Like it's like a ceramic dish.
yeah, I feel like to match the visual weight of your mega
Sure.
disco flower, though, it's gotta it's gotta have a little bit more weight.
Yeah.
I think I think unless
Blue or burgundy feels like the
yeah,
choice, unless
I
you
think
get
I
bullied one way
might
or another.
yeah, which I'm open to.
Yeah, same.
I think I think I'm gonna go green for now. Um, that feels that feels fun because it's almost like one big the stems and the pots are one big
I like it.
thing. I forget. Are you able to copy and paste effects? Because I'd love to just apply the roughen effect how you have it.
It's a weird
No,
way to do it. Yeah, you'd have to make like a graphic style or whatever. But
gotcha. I will just eyeball
or
it.
if you double, I think if you double click one of my stems, you'll jump into the group and then you paste it into the group. Like if you take the
Oh,
pot basically
yeah.
and then
Let
cut
me try
it
that.
and then double click in there and paste.
I'm here to learn.
Okay, cut again. There's got to be one that has a group, even if you paste it into a flower.
Oh,
Like, get
that's
out
not a
of that
group.
one.
That's right.
Yeah, get one that's a group that has the roughen on it. Probably a
Oh, like this?
flower, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, look at
Yeah.
you. I learned something today.
Good. That makes me happy.
Sweet.
I
Now
like
I
to
just
help.
have to remember. Cool.
All right, I need advice from you on is this a vase that would ever actually, I mean, I know it's not really a vase, but like it's a vase enough, right? But like I got the feet, I got like the legs sticking out and then like the big skirt. Does that feel right?
I think it feels fun. Yeah, you've got this kind of like big head skirt and then like the little feet.
Yeah.
Um
Like
yeah.
these are like the shoes almost, but they'll stay blue, and then these are like the little leggies, the green body legs.
Ooh, I kind of like when the springy part is a different color. That's kind of fun.
Okay.
I
It's a
mean,
multicolored. I
do
guess you can
you?
paint a vase any color you want, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna add a little shadow detail here.
Penny Doodle said to maybe pattern the pot, and I'm not sure whose pot you're
Oh,
talking about, but I like that for this one because
I'm doing it too.
you've got these really fun patterns over here that I feel like would help it. So let me try that. Um,
Let me
I
also
can
try
use.
that.
Thanks, Penny Doodles. So I did the for the longest time I wasn't using this feature, like the draw inside feature, and it
Oh,
changed
sure.
my
Show
life.
me, because I rarely, if ever, do use that.
Um, yeah, so you just click on a shape, super easy, and then over here, I wish I could zoom in on the UX, but there's three tiny little icons at the kind of almost the bottom of the toolbar, and
Okay.
one is draw normal, which is what it's
Yep.
selected by default, and then draw behind, and then draw inside. So when you click into the shape, then you can just paste. So that's what I did. I just pasted
Oh, I didn't know you could
this.
paste inside. They need to call it like everything inside because I only thought it was for like using the
Yeah.
draw brush tool or something.
Yeah, so it's super handy because I used to do like masking, you know, and
Sure.
sometimes with complex shapes that can also tank your computer.
Yep.
That's fun, little colored pot because now I've got the checkerboard at the top and then also at the bottom down here.
Yep.
Nice. I feel like some of these leaves.
Ooh, my checkerboard worked out really nicely too because now it looks like they have like checkered socks on or like
Wait, let me
like
see.
little leg warmers. Oh, whoops, someone both. Sorry. So I have like little like leg
Oh,
warmers underneath the
I love
skirt.
that.
Yeah, it worked out good.
Yeah. I would buy that pot if I saw it at Home Depot. That's sweet. Now I feel like it's time to just embellish. I know
Embellish.
we're
Yeah, I'm gonna
getting
spend the next
to the
five
end
minutes or so
here.
embellishing.
How much more can I pack in?
Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, I'm racing to add shadows basically now, which is like always my favorite part is just like adding some stroke details and some shadows.
Nice. I'm gonna do some more floating elements because I like that. I didn't use any of these leaves, man. All these assets.
How to remember that time that you promised that we would do a collab Instagram post of what we made? Are
Oh yeah, because the day after our original date was going to be Valentine's Day. We still
yeah,
can. I'm
we
down.
still can. Are you proud? Is this a proud enough piece of artwork that it goes on? Because I'm looking at what
Yeah,
I
I
made
love
and I feel
it.
like I made a monster, but I do love it.
I love it too.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh, it looks like this one's missing the roughen effect.
I'm gonna take your little. What flower would this be called? Do you know the names of
Oh
flowers?
man, only a couple. I mean,
This one
there's
must be called
sun,
puffer flower.
there's bluebells,
Ooh,
there's roses. I don't
yeah.
know the fancy ones.
I'm gonna use these little puffer. These must be called
Oh my
puffer
gosh,
flowers for
as eyes,
eyeballs. Yeah, of course. Can't believe I didn't think of
obviously.
it earlier.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be uneven because she's like really having a good time.
Oh man, I can tell. Yeah, that's. I wish I could ever have that good a time in my entire life.
I've got to consolidate some colors, but I'm feeling really good about mine. I still like my little concept of the water, but I got carried away with the character.
That's fun. How much time do we have left to so I know how much I
A
can
couple minutes, 5 minutes probably, and then I'll
5 minutes?
wrap us.
Sweet. Oh, I love that copy paste into a group for the roughen effect. I'm going to be using that all the time.
Yeah, it's really helpful. Bookie says dinner time here in Berlin.
I hope
Oh,
you're having
thanks for
something
coming in,
tasty.
Bookie. Thanks for joining, Bookie.
This is fun. I'm liking this. Try to
Yeah, yours
try
looks
to fill out the
awesome.
diamond. Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
for all of the delicious pieces. I didn't know where it was going, but I like where it ended up.
That was the same situation for mine. I
That could be your
just
tagline for for this whole
for this
Collabie
whole
series.
entire thing, yeah.
We don't know
Nobody
where
knew
we're
what was gonna
going.
happen, but it came out pretty good, and we had fun.
Yes.
I'm just stuck on blue for mine down here. I feel like it's sticking out like a sore thumb. I would kind of want to consolidate my colors, but
More fiery.
yeah, yeah,
I
like
bet you
she's a
love that
fire
blue.
gal. I know. I pushed for the blue too. The blue was not in the color palette at first, and then I was like, I really want this blue, and now here I
I love that
am
blue.
without the blue.
It's the process. Got to
I
kill your darling
I
sometimes.
think so. I think it's better without the blue, as much as I do love it. Maybe
This would be a really fun little poster print. I'd love to have like a nice thick print out of this for my wall.
I mean, it's few enough colors too. Right? I only worked in 5 color. We could screen print these.
Yeah. Ooh, or Rizzo. Have you
Yep.
ever done Rizzograph printing?
I only did one, and I would really like to do more. And I know like a lot of the schools around me and stuff have access to it. I need to take advantage of. What about you?
I used to live back in Portland, and they had
Of
an
course.
awesome Rizzograph studio. So I was lucky enough to get to do some there. I haven't since, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's a cool process for anybody. Look it up. It's some wacky, cool printing.
It's so fun.
Um,
Ooh, I'm losing track of time. All right, we're gonna
I know we're
let's
getting wrapped up. We're going in a whole other hour.
I know. All right, sorry whoever's next, but we're doing another hour. All right, let's do a quick little show and tell for a minute or two, and then I'll wrap us. I'm gonna jump to yours, okay?
Awesome. All right, this is what I got. We got a
Love it.
beautiful uh, diamond shaped composition of chaos. There's some flames and fun in there. You gave me a lot of awesome stuff to work with. I love the motif of sort of the window pane
Hmm.
um, checkerboard. I think that really kind of adds a ton because without that, it would be pretty flat. Um, so yeah, I'm stoked. You give me some great stuff to work with.
Yeah, I love that you disconnected certain things too to lean into kind of the style a little bit. I think it came out so great, and I think all the different colors are working so well. They're like balanced super well in it too. I love it so much.
Sweet, thanks. Yeah, the colors you picked are really fun.
Yeah, they worked. Let's see. For mine, I'm gonna abandon to the right, but I went with a character. Yeah, she's dancing. She's having a great time. She's celebrating that spring is around the corner, and she's like full of like this chocolate. I love the colors, like the chocolate and red that feel very Valentine's-y. And for my
Yeah,
vase, I made this cute little like dress with the checkered leg warmers.
that is so fun. The dress might be my favorite part. Like
It came together.
that with yeah, it totally did with like kind of the leaf elements.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cute little
little rococo.
belt. Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's so
Awesome.
fun.
Oh, this was fun.
I'm gonna
Thank you
add a
so
little
much
bit
for
more to
everybody.
mine so that we can post together, but I'm gonna try not to spend hours and hours on this. But I hope everybody downloads some stuff so that they can play around and tag us too. And yeah, we have to wrap, and I need to remember what the right thing to do is. But I will jump to both our faces for a second. Katya, thank you so much for being a part of this. And Katya and I
Having me.
we met a little bit. We did an Adobe Live before, but like I feel like we've become so much more friendly as a result. And like, I don't know, that's my goal with this is to like make friends and stuff too. And so anybody that wants to like meet somebody, like you can make art together and it doesn't need to be a ton of pressure, and most people are really into it, and so I just hope people can learn from that too because we had so much fun.
I did. Yes. Thanks for having me. This was really fun.
Hell yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go to our thank you cam and then I'm gonna try to disconnect us and get us out of here and stay tuned for whatever's next on Adobe Live. Cool.
Sweet.
Bye everyone.